You lock me in your gaze, and try though I might, I cannot look away. You're not what I expected to find, and now I'm forgetting why I should run from your side. Yeah. One gentle kiss, the pain alleviates. Poisonous lips annihilate me, and every dream that I trade for this bliss. But who can resist? I'm starving alone in the wilderness. Beautiful distraction, keep me hypnotized, and I fall for the enemy. Powerless reaction, I am paralyzed, and now you get the best of me. Is there no one safe from your deceit and lies? I know I've been told this road isn't paved with gold, but I see it glitter now. I'm sold for the enemy. My hands are tied. You've captured your next slave, but it feels justified. I don't even try to break free, and now I'm blind to the truth at my side. That we win before we begin if we stand and fight this. Beautiful distraction, keep me hypnotized, and I fall for the enemy. Powerless reaction, I am paralyzed, and now you get the best of me. Is there no one safe from your deceit and lies? I know I've been told this road isn't paved with gold, but I see it glitter now. I'm sold for this. We're going down. We're going down. Yeah, we're going down. We're going down. We're going down. We're going down. Na 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 na. We're going down. We're going down. Beautiful distraction, keep me hypnotized, and I fall for the enemy. Powerless reaction, I am paralyzed, and now you get the best of me. Is there no one safe from your deceit and lies? I know I'm told this road isn't paved with gold, but I see it glitter now. I'm sold for this love.
All right. Of course, going into an ad break. Figures. Well then, welcome everyone to the TTRPG Theater. I am your host, Rob, otherwise known as Phantom NJ, and yeah, this is going to be kind of a free flowing, I don't even know what I'm talking about type thing, because there was a plan, and I was going to have a guest host on with me tonight, and there was a little bit of a scheduling snafu. So that will be next week, where we will be talking about the basics of being a game master. Things for new GMs to keep in mind. Some of it might be CNC specific. Some of it will just kind of apply to regardless of whatever TTRPG you're running. But that stream will end up being next week. What we're talking about tonight, we'll see where the chat goes. Again, I kind of lost track of time. Among other things, had a couple of work-related things come up, and then just trying to get myself settled, I lost track of time. So it might be a really, really cozy conversation with just a scant few, whoever happens to notice that I'm live, because I did not get notifications out everywhere. But that's fine. We'll do what we can do. Let me see. I've already got the giveaway set up. Already have the giveaway. Again, Chris, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope your wife's doing well. Enjoyed meeting the both of you at GaryCon and having you play in both sessions. That was really cool. It was. Hey, Justin, it's good to see you, Greg. Glad to see you in chat. So let's see. There's a couple of things. So I was trying to figure out what the hell I wanted to talk about. That's awesome here. I'm really glad. It means a lot to me to know that the people who play my sessions when you're going to a con, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what mindset people are going to be in. I was lucky enough with especially the two tables that you were at, where I knew the majority of the people at the table. As a matter of fact, the first session, your wife was the only person I hadn't, had any kind of relationship with at all prior to. Everybody else was either somebody who had, somebody I knew from the community, people who had played my games previously. A couple of them are already, were regulars of the campaign. And so, it was really cool, being able to have the two of you join us with a table of people who, already knew and made things really easy and comfortable. So, and then, with the second game, I think it was actually there only ended up being four of us the second game, wasn't there? Cause we had a couple people missing and still, which just meant that I knew everyone at the table again. Because everybody was either from the community or from the Trollord community. We had Pete from the TLG Discord, who came in from England for the game, which was awesome. I kind of missed that whole magic of knowing everybody on my Saturday game. My Saturday game went fine. It was good. It didn't help that it was at 8 a.m. So trying to get the energy up, I kind of had energy on my personal level. My players at the start did not necessarily bring that energy. So, it wasn't until about halfway through the session that I was feeling relatively secure that they were enjoying themselves. Oh man, yeah, that's entirely true. I do not want to do that again. I've already told the people in charge of scheduling that if I can't have my 9 a.m. start me later. I'd rather start at 10 than start at 8 because that was brutal on multiple levels. But the game went off fine. So, among the things that I've been trying to get together, and life just keeps throwing curveballs, which is kind of unfair, but it is what it is. I've been trying to figure out what's next. Ooh, con. Which con are you talking about? You have 3 at 8 a.m. Which con? That's brutal, sir. I don't know what I don't know why you did that to yourself. Where's BrawCon located? It's kind of funny. I just realized I was talking to. Okay, all right. I was just talking to George, Ultra Magnus from the. Ah, all right, yeah. You're just south of Houston. It's kind of hard to get south of Houston, isn't that like? Aren't you sitting in the Gulf at that point? Or my misunderstanding where Houston was. I always thought Houston was kind of like right there, but maybe it might just have been the way the people were talking about it while I was down there. I've been to Houston once. Going to see when I was doing baseball stadium tours, or just like making my way to all of them. Back then, back then I think it was still called Minute Maid Park. I don't know what it's called now. I should know. The Mets just played there this past week, but oh man, yeah, my brain just went south. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I was talking to George Ultra Magnus in the TLG Discord, and yeah, he was talking about the fact that he's running games at MEPACon this week, which is in um, mid Eastern PA, and with the changes in life that I've had, it suddenly occurred to me that I really could have, if I had thought about it, I probably could have gone to the con, um, but it's a little too late now. Hmm. Ooh. Just to take it in. I mean, that would have been a little further for me than Page was, but it looks like my next con. I don't know. I have to see when. I know that MEPACon does they have a spring and a fall version of it. The fall version, if I remember correctly, normally falls in during one of like my vacation periods when I'm normally taking off or traveling either or about to travel. So we'll have to see what happens with that. I might be able to make the fall edition of that this year. But other than that, for now, for the foreseeable future, it's it's going to be Page or it's going to be um. Yeah, my thing doesn't like links. I would make you a VIP so you could post a link, but then there's a good chance that the Stream Elements bot will try to silence you. And when I say silence, I'm not talking just turning it into asterisks. I'm talking doing like a 60-second ban or something. Yeah, yeah. Mepicon is close. Page is good because Page is about 2 hours away, and Mepicon probably would be about 2.5. Okay, yeah, I'll take a look at the Broadcon. Oh, always nice to hear about new ones. I know there's yeah, Page. I mean, they've only they've only had two of them. I missed the first one. There's a little bit of a backstory to the second one. I decided to go to the second one because of people going to the first one. We're going to, and I knew a lot of people that were going to be there. Lord Gazumu was going to be there with a bunch of people from the community, and so it was cool that I was going to be able to see people. I was not. I'm not a fan of the fact that they charge per event. In addition to the badge, they charge per event. It's a nominal fee. It's like $2 or $3 or whatever. But still, come on, don't do that to your customers. You're not a big enough con, and even for the big cons, I find it ridiculous that people are charging per. When I found out that about Gen Con, I was like, yeah, no, I will never be attending Gen Con. That just won't be happening. I am I am not paying. And Gen Con costs some serious money per event that you decide to go to. Page at least it was like $2 or $3 or whatever, which I think it hurts the game masters. I think it really does. I played in an event last year or this past year for Page where I was the only player, and it was an established pretty relatively established GM running amazing adventures, and I was the only person who signed up. Um, Actually, here funny story. The game I played an AD&D game, one of Lord Gazumba's games down at Page. That was originally supposed to be a BattleTech game, and I was the only person who signed up for BattleTech. Now, I don't know if that's because people didn't want to pay for a game that they hadn't played before or whatever. But I mean, he does the full on for BattleTech. He still does the full on terrain and everything. I played enough of his BattleTech sessions where I know it would have been really cool. But yeah, if it, he, at one point he's like, "Are you okay if I switch it to AD&D?" I was like, as long as I'm still in, go for it. I'm not, I'm not going to complain. I got to play my Elementalist for the first time, which was cool. Um, but yeah, it's just weird, and but again, it's a nominal fee per thing. I'm not crazy about it. I made a big stink about it last year. I'll probably continue to make a big stink about it, but as long as there's enough people that I know there, I'll probably bite the bullet and go. I am not running games there. If I'm going to Page, I'm going to travel to Page. I'm going to go there and enjoy the games. I'll sign up for Jay's games so I can play in them. May see who else I know that's there. That's the thing. That's the other thing. If you're charging for the thing, that money should be going. As far as I'm concerned, that money should be going to the GMs, and I don't think it does, which is the other part of it that I find to be nonsense. Um, you know, I mean, if they're you, I'll be honest with you. If I found out that the $2 was going to the individual GMs, I might be okay with that. But I mean, even then, if you're running, let's say you're running, at $2 a game. Say you're running 3 sessions, and you have maybe 6 players. 6 players is a pretty good con size for a table. You're running 3 sessions with 6 players. That's still only $36. If you're even if the entire thing was going to to the the GM, that's only $36 for 12 hours. I mean, I don't know. It's one of the things if the badge was super cheap, if the badge was like $25 and then pay by the event, okay, yeah, I can buy that. Page's badge is not, it's not super cheap. At least the gold badge was, and I don't remember what the silver badge would have cost. But I got the gold badge, and it's not that cheap. Oh yeah, but it is what it is. Um, I don't know. There's sometimes people make business decisions, or so I just don't understand, and when the logic just isn't there, and it kind of bugs me. Um, but you deal with what you have to deal with. Dark Elf Twilight, thank you so much for the subscription. Really kind of you. Good to see you. I without going any further, I was happy to hear the news that you gave the other night regarding personal stuff. Also awesome to hear, and I will leave that there. Um, Also, for those of you, in case you haven't seen it, Jay Lord Gazama did have his hip surgery. It sounds like he's doing well and is already up and walking with the use of a walker or walker, I think it was. So so that's good news. He got through the surgery okay. Um, so we're talking about conventions still because so we did just have Gary Con, and Mepicon is going this weekend, and there's more stuff coming up. Um, I don't have another big travel con in me this year. If I can't drive it, really, if I can't drive it, it's not happening. Because I still want to go. I'm hoping later in the year. My sister lives in London, and I'm hoping to go and be able to visit her again later this year. I know I have some travel for work coming up in the fall. So, I don't know that I'll be able to do another full on gaming convention. And I don't know that I'd want to do one unless there's going to be a whole lot of people I know there. Really, I enjoy gaming conventions, but I'm I'm there a lot. Even in GaryCon where I'm running games, the fact that I get to run games with people who know me is a lot of the fun at this point. So as awesome as stuff like Gamehole Con sounds, and because I keep hearing how good that is, I think the other one's Dragon Con down in Atlanta. Though that also means traveling to Atlanta, which I've done that. Not my favorite thing in the world. But it is what it is. Um, I think my next big travel con will be next year at GaryCon. I paid page three will come before that, which is fine, and that's probably it. I yeah, I Dark Elf. I can understand that completely. That's got that sucks, dude. And I'm sorry that you had to make that decision. Um, yeah, it's rough. It's I I'm lucky in a sense because my sister and her husband visit here pretty often. They do a lot of traveling for work, so uh, they've got air miles up the wazoo. So they're able to use those miles when they need to and come over and visit and so at least we have that. Um, but I want to go over. I've been there twice. Once by myself and once with the woman I was dating at up until recently. And my next trip my next trip was going to be by myself anyway, because my trips by myself are a very different animal. When I'll do a little bit of sightseeing, but right now I've seen most of the sites there are in London. So the things that I want to do are very different from everyone else. Should I mention that my flight to and from GaryCon was on the Boeing 737 uh, Max, the ones that had the doors fall, the plane model that did have all the faulty parts issues, including doors falling off and such. But I was in first class, so if something had gone terribly wrong, at least I would have gone in style. I'll say that much. And I specifically did that because no, yeah, if things had gone horribly wrong, yeah, I would have been gripping the armrest the entire time. I made that choice consciously because, it ended up resulting in an extremely early flight going there. Okay, Chris, cool. No worries. It ended up an extremely early flight going there and a rather late flight coming back because the flights in the middle of the day were I can't remember who the plane maker is. It's one of the. It's not an Airbus. It was not an Airbus, and not a Boeing. The name escapes me at the moment, but it's one of those smaller planes where they're on the left side of the aisle. There's one seat. On the right side, there's two seats. Um, and first class really isn't first class. No, it's not Lockheed Martin. And even the quote unquote first class seats are not that comfortable for me because I'm a big guy. It's hard for me just to sit in the seats because these with my weight and stuff. The the first class seats for the Boeing flight were perfect. Um, So if I'm not going to get additional comfort out of paying the extra money for first class, what am I doing? And I'm not going to fly that in economy. No way, no how, no sir. But that is what it is. All right. So among things that I've got going on is there's this whole business. I've been trying to get back. Hey, Pat, good to see you. Yes, he's got through surgery. He posted that he got through surgery. Actually, I'll read directly from the post. Through left hip replacement surgery and in recovery room until tomorrow. Already up and walking with a walker. See everyone soon. That was posted about an hour and 40 minutes ago. So it sounds like everything went really, really well there. Um, so yeah, I mean, beyond talking about things, I've been trying to get done and do. Um, I do want to restart Friday Night Crusades. I know that some of my players have been missing having a regular game. I think I've missed having a regular game more than I thought I was going to. Um, but one of the things that I promised myself was, I wanted to make it something that I could use to help augment my campaign. Now, I'm not necessarily saying the game is going to be part of the campaign because that really wouldn't be fair to the players that I've had who've been semi-regular in that. But one of the things that I really want to do is use it to test concepts and test. When I say, and with regards to concepts, I'm really talking about character classes for starters. Um, Anyone who's listened long enough knows that I have issues with some of the CNC character classes. Um, I find the bard class underwhelming. Um, the assassin class may as well not even exist. Pat, feel free to rant about the assassin class all you want, because I don't. First of all, I don't think that class works. I really don't think the class. Beyond even beyond the weirdness of not having open locks, and I could probably substitute open locks for one of the abilities it does have. But the fact that it doesn't have open locks is kind of strange. The fact that you get all of your abilities at first level, and it isn't until you get to like 13th level that you get anything new other than your bonus to hit and your hit points going up, is an extremely odd design decision. No, they need to change a number of things, because the other problem is, Pat, that assassination. Um, I Canadian Ancient Gamer, Patrick, I agree with you. Um, I keep telling Jay that I really need him to. I need that Altamira box set to come out, because I don't want to have to make my own bounty hunter class if there's one coming. That's just like, I don't want to be duplicating efforts, and I can almost be certain to promise that as soon as that box set comes out, I will be implementing the bounty hunter. Um, I don't know about the Inquisitor, because I think I have my own ideas for an Inquisitor that's going to be based on Worship of Foltus. Um, but yeah, the some of the classes that he has coming, that's supposed to be coming in the box set, I want to implement as soon as they're available. Hell, I'd love to test those classes in maybe in an offline, in a Castle and Crusades, Friday Night Crusades, and see what people think. So Jay, aka Lord Gazumba, is putting out a box set for Trollord Games based on his city of Altamira. Now, obviously, because his campaign is set in the world of Greyhawk and can't do that they're going to be placing it in the world of Aird. So it'll be, technically in two different campaign settings, one unofficially, and one officially. Um, this has been in the works for a while. In addition to publishing the city, and it's going to have a lot of the characters that you know from the campaign. Apparently, that at least that's my understanding. Um, and along with that, he's going to be releasing CNC versions of a number of his custom character classes. One of them being the bounty hunter. So I think that would be, I think that's fantastic. I am looking forward to it. I don't know at this point, I really don't know when that's going to end up happening. Partially because of his health, partially because of the rather backed up schedule that Trollard Games has at the moment. I'm hoping it's sooner rather than I will be, I'll be upset if it isn't at least, on the schedule by the end of the year. And really, I want it to be, available by the end of the year. I don't know that that's going to happen though. Yeah, no, the Adventures Backpack characters have problems. Um, you say you when you say limited, I think they're limited in the sense that you need to have with a lot of them, you need to have campaigns that cater to them. Um, I think the Rune Mark class is just broken. I'm not happy with that class at all. Having eidetic memory as a character class thing. You know, I could probably I should probably look through it to see if I can find it in Dragon magazines. It's funny, Patrick. One of the issues I ran into is I actually started working on the Halfling Guardian. I think it's Guardian. Yeah, the Halfling Guardian from Dragon magazine. And one of the things that I realized is, as written, if I just converted it as written to CNC, it would be overpowered because where paladins and rangers, in CNC you can have paladins and rangers do like they did in AD&D where they get spells at 9th level. The Halfling Guardian has has spell abilities at like 4th or 5th. Um, and not like minor stuff, not like once per day usage type things, but full on spells is like, I don't know that I don't know that I want to have introduced it that way. Because that makes them pretty powerful. Though I guess I guess we could go with the idea that they're kind of really splitting the difference between a paladin and a cleric. Maybe. I don't know. I'm a little ambivalent about releasing them as exactly as written and just converting them over straight up. Um, I may just be, I may be making more of it than it's really worth the abilities that it has. I thought about changing like in terms of some of the spells, cherry picking from some of their class specific spells and making them like once per day usage. The ability to pick some of the better ones and make them things that they can get as they level. I did introduce one into the campaign as an NPC. I have not. He didn't get to do a heck of a lot, so I didn't really get to show him off much. But the character was introduced. Um, One of the other things that I want to do, and the fact that I get to play one in Jay's campaign has kind of inspired it. I do want to introduce elementalists. I have the big book of spells, so I'd like to put I like to start testing out the elementalist class. Um, I have I have what it looks like for my character in Jay's campaign for an earth elementalist. I need to take a look at what I would do for the other elements, fire, water, and such. I'm not going to get into the quasi elementalist because then that gets to be a lot. And I think at that point you're really struggling hard to find thematic spells, and you almost need to keep inventing. And at that point, it may start feeling like you're just coming up with the same thing with just a different flavoring. Yeah, Dark Elf. I agree with you there. I think just doing the four of them would work. Well, yeah, Pat. That's kind of why I want to use why one I want to reintroduce Friday Night Crusades, and I want to have these classes available for people to try, with the understanding that I'm going to need their feedback on what feels too powerful, what feels what's working, what's not working, and tweaking things as they go along. Um, obviously specialty priests are a big thing. I want to do not only specialty priests, but also specialty paladins and variations on the knight class depending on which order they're a member of. And with the knight class, one of my thoughts was I'd have to figure out what I would substitute, but I think they'd start off at up until one particular given level. They're all the base knight class. At which point they would switch into whichever one that it was that they wanted to be. Whichever order it was that they ended up joining. Because of the fact that this is for the campaign, I'd end up limiting their options. Maybe coming out with more later, but I've got an R&D's campaign, so it kind of needs to be, in that same vein. No, yeah, I, I'm right there with you on that, Dark. Um, like Paladins of Palor, and I think the Paladins of Foltis. I don't know that I would be. Listen, Pat, I'm gonna just like squirrel. I'm going squirreling again. Your dancing lights usage is not the biggest abuse of a spell I've ever seen. It's close. By far the biggest abuse of a spell being meant to doing something it was never meant to do is well, it was a grape ape who was using Tensor's floating disc as an offensive weapon. Oh my goodness, that was that was something else, and he was it got kind of ridiculous. It's like, no, that is not how that spell works. Pat, you went a little further with than just distracting the mobs. Let's be honest here. Distracting the mobs is what was one thing. There were times when you were trying to get the dancing lights to be to do a lot more than that. Because as a mob distraction, thing that kind of works. Yeah, Dark Elf. That's kind of what. Yeah, the destructo disc. Basically, he was like trying to use it to trip people, trip mobs, and things of that nature. Or using it to like unbalance mobs, having the disc appear underneath them and suddenly like yank them away. Pat, it's been like 3 years since, or 2 years now, or at least 2 years, and a lot has happened. I don't remember the specifics at this point. All I know is there was more involved than just distracting mobs. I know, I remember that much because I would be completely on board with trying to use them to distract mobs. Um, that's for me, dancing lights. That's a reasonable usage of it. Even if it's only momentarily. Um, but yeah, so I was looking at like the followers of Foltus and the whole blinding light and the idea of the Inquisitor. I hadn't decided whether I wanted all paladins of Foltus to be Inquisitors or if I wanted it to be there to be paladins of Foltus and then the actual Inquisition, the lawful neutral holy warriors of Foltus, be the the quote unquote Inquisition. Um, it's something something that I'm toying around with. Um, I obviously have got the followers of Hieronius, where I wanted to definitely have a more martial feel to it because they're heavy on the warrior part of the equation with Hieronius and Hieronius and Pelor and Foltus are all going to or in my main campaign all have a very very big parts to play. So so there's definitely that. Um, I thought about wild mages, and I honestly I'm staying away from wild mages because I remember how they kind of took over my back in the day. They kind of overtook my 2E game. Um, and you knew the people who loved playing chaotic neutral characters were going to make a wild mage. It was going to happen. And it was the whole I don't care how big the room is, I cast fireball. Well, I don't care how the room is, I'm going to cast fireball. And oh, by the way, there may be even further consequences to it because we don't know what level that spell is going to end up casting at. uh uh so I can't see where that could possibly go wrong. But yeah, I think I'm staying away from wild. I might get to wild mages at some point. Not going to be real soon. Um, I also want to come up with several variants of the fighter. Like I think I'd like to do a shield specialist. Not a full on shield maiden type thing, but someone who use with the shield is more than just purely for defensive purposes. They can use it for offensive purposes. There are bonuses. There again, the issue is figuring out, what am I just upping the XP requirement for the class, or am I taking something away? I think for the shield specialists, I would probably get rid of combat dominance. That turns out to be like the most obvious one. Um, I toyed with the idea of the two-handed specialist, but I don't necessarily know that that's necessary. There is the duelist in AA that I'm probably going to bring over, um, which would make for a nice variant on the warrior. Though I'm not sure if the duelist is meant to be, like a gunslinger type class. I have to go look at that. I think it can be like any weapon, but I think I might focus it on on weaponry, on swords and such. Swords, basically blades of some sort. Gingery, huh? uh, I'm not entirely sure how to take that. Uh, but my problem, yeah. So to give you an idea, my problem with the bard is the big mechanic that it has as the level is the whole fascinate thing. and I don't. I'm not crazy about how it works. I'm not crazy about, and I'm even less crazy about Gunslinger. I thought you were going with the whole, what do you call it, the redheaded bastard stepchild or something. I was like, huh? Um, it wouldn't surprise me if it was supposed to be like a gunslinger type thing. Um, yeah, well, redheads are redheads. I'm all in favor of redheads myself. But with the bard, it's the whole fascinate, and then the fascinate. There's a another level to it, and turning it, charming, fascinated creatures, and so it doesn't work. Um, it does feel underpowered. It doesn't have it doesn't have a really anything barred to it. It's just like, okay, you're overly charismatic, huh? You know, I think I'm gonna look at as far as my game going with the spellcasting bard. I like the spellcasting bard idea. Um, I know somewhere Asher's ears are ringing and burning potentially because he tried the spellcasting bard in his campaign. I believe he tried the spellcasting bard in his campaign with one of his players, and he hates it because the spellcasting, I believe, is illusion or illusions, and um, he's got one of those players that likes to get everything they possibly can out of a spell. And I'm used to adjudicating the illusion spells. You're not going to pull that stuff on me. Um, but yeah, it's I think the bard needs a rework. I haven't decided what I want to do with it. I think the spellcasting portion of it is one part. I mean, to be fair, I honestly don't think the bard had a place in 1E. I did not understand for the life of me what they were thinking when they created the 1E bard the way they did. It's so utterly different from everything else, that it's just like, why would you do this? And the fact that most campaigns are not, you're never going to make the bard in most campaigns. I'm thinking there might have been some mind altering, substances involved in the creation of the bard. Because it's a, it's basically a prestige class in a game that had no other prestige classes. It was basically a precursor to a prestige class. Having to go 10 total levels, I think it was, of being something else before you got your first level in Bard. What? Why? What what was the purpose of that? I don't understand why, what that design decision was. I need to go look at the Dragon Magazine Bard and see if I like that, and maybe see if it has the workings of what I need to, um because I didn't Dragon Magazine was one of those things where I had like 5 or 6 issues total when I was growing up, because I was collecting comics at that point, so I had enough money from my paper outs to get my D&D books and my comics, and Dragon magazines were just, a step too far. There was a couple issues I picked up. Um, the first one that I ever bought was the one with all the different paladins of different alignments, and I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't planning on using that for something. I've got thoughts on how I can work those classes into basically specialty classes of different gods. Um, I hate the names that they use for most of them. I don't know where they came up with the names for those, but it is what it is, and we can figure something out. They don't need to be named that. Um, but yeah, it's there's work to be done. There's a lot of work to be done. Well, yeah, and you're right, and I appreciate the fact that in Pathfinder they've got the champion class, and the lawful good version of it is called a paladin. The Dragon Magazine CD set. I've been downloading them from the web archive as go along. I don't I don't know. Remember the last time that I saw the CD? I don't know that I've ever actually seen the CD set. I think I've heard about it, but I don't remember. I'd have to see if I can find it somewhere. I'm assuming it's in downloadable format where you can just basically extract everything, set it up, set up as a disk image and pull everything out. Because finding a computer that has a CD player at this point, good luck on that. Oh, here I go. Next thing you know, I'm gonna have an external CD hooked up to my computer. Um, yeah, I mean, I need to, I need to get to work on those classes, and I think one of the problems I'm having is just, in addition to being overwhelmed by everything else. All right, cool, good to know, Pat. Good to know. Oh yeah, I mean, getting one is not an issue. That's for sure. It's just one more thing. Actually, I've got a couple of computers where I don't even need the full external CD. I would just need the casing to mount it, and I can pull a CD drive out of one of my old computers and just basically get one of the mounting kits, external mounting kits, and and connect it. That's always a possibility as well. Um, but trying to figure out which of all these things to do first is like the forever problem. I don't know. Um, one of the ones that I think I really need to do is one of the ones I definitely need to work on are the Holy Wars of Tritherion, because I already have one in my game. Um, GDTRP 1995 is it's his second character, Sir Aldrich, is a paladin of Tritherion. And I told him that, after I built the specialty class and it's been tested a little bit, um, I'd be happy to let him switch over if he wanted. We would just basically hand wave and, substitute the abilities of the specialty class for the abilities of the paladin and go with it that way. Um, so that's definitely one of the ones that I want to work on. But yeah, like figuring out where to start is a big thing. All right, well, we don't really have. I'm like looking and trying to figure out who I can possibly raid into, because there is no Lord Gazumma tonight. I don't know who else is normally going at these times. Myriad X is what is she doing, or what are they doing? Yeah, that's that. I was looking at Reaper. Reaper is probably good one. Oh, Myriad looks like she's working on Shadow Dark stuff. Um, which is cool. But I think you're right. I think we are going to raid into Reaper minis. Thank you everyone for coming and hanging out tonight. That was really cool. We do have the giveaway going on! Exclamation point ticket. $10 coupon for any digital product to on Trollord Games website. So right now, your odds of winning are pretty damn good. there's, there's only a couple of entrants at the moment, so feel free to enter. Again, exclamation point ticket. And meanwhile, I am going to get the raid set up. Dark Elf, yes, you are in. Pat, you're in. Patrick, thank you so much for hanging out. Really cool. Let's see. Raid. Reaper. And of course, I did the dumb thing and I closed the chat window when I could just copy it from there.
Puppies.
Dinners photos.
All right. We got that set up. I'm going to close the giveaway. And picking a winner. Dark Elf Twilight. Excellent. I will get with you right after the stream. And again, thank you everyone for hanging out. Dark Elf, thank you for the subscription. Really appreciate it. They're very kind of you. And next week I will have George Ultra Magnus Hardy with me. We'll be discussing basic DM tips, kind of system agnostic things for people who are not used to running games. Tips that you can use to get yourself started and make sure that you and your players are having a good time. And with that, we're going to raid Reaper Minis. I do have a raid emote, that you can use. Get those ready and see you on the flip side.